Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Hacking Open Source Business podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Matt Yankovic, once again joined by co-host Avi Press.
Hello.
And today we're joined by Saurav Pathak from Bagisto, right? Am I pronouncing Bagisto right?
Yes, that's right. Bagisto.
Awesome. And Saurav, you are the co-founder and CPO. Is that correct?
Yes, right.
Okay. And have you listened to our podcast before?
I came across your post on LinkedIn. I saw some of the snippet and then I came your podcast.
So you don't know what we do to start the podcast. So what I have is I have a list of 173 questions.
Oh.
And we're going to start with a rapid fire, get to know you know, round of questions, just to get to know who you are before we talk about, you know, the company and open source and all the fun business stuff. Okay?
Sure.
So 173, maybe. So sometimes I go a little less, but, you know, so maybe tell us a little bit about where you live currently, like outside of where you're stationed right now. Where is that?
Okay, currently I am in New Delhi, NCR, India right now.
Okay, and how is the weather?
Right now it's pretty much raining heavily outside, okay?
Oh.
But it's summer is coming, okay? So a bit of you are going to get a gist of how the summer is going to be.
All right. Now, Saurav, you haven't just built an open source application. You've used open source before, I assume, correct?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Probably a lot. So what is your favorite open source application that you use on a regular basis?
Okay, I guess it would be our chat tool. Okay, we the parent company of Bagisto, the Webcool, they have developed a chat tool. Okay, by the name ChatWiz. Okay, I think that's the one thing, because every day people are chatting here and there with so many people, right? So that's the one tool which we use a lot every day to communicate with each other internally and externally with our customers.
Okay. Oh, cool. I hadn't heard of that before. Have you, Avi?
Yeah, me either. No.
Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, we use chat all the time as well, you know, just different types, right? You know, a lot of people use Slack, Discord, you know, may even use Mattermost, all kinds of different chat things. So that's cool. So, you know, what is your favorite book?
Favorite book? Okay. That's pretty difficult to answer, but I'm not very much into reading books of which are very tech enthusiasts, okay, but I like reading books which are related to mythology.
Oh,
okay.
That's cool. Hey, it doesn't have to be a technical book. It doesn't have to be a business book.
Not.
Okay. So there's one book which I like. There's an author, Mr. Amish Tripathi. He's from India, okay, and he writes very good mythology books, which are very good fiction story as well. There's one book which I read is of a Shiva trilogy, and then there are multiple books he has written on the Indian mythology. I find them quite interesting, and I find how he describe each and every character. You won't feel like it's a mythology. You will more feel like it's a very nice fiction story, okay? And I think I try to take a page out of his writing and try to do something in my own real life as well, like how I need to project my project that we are doing, so the people who are using that project, they should not feel bored, okay, I would say. They should find it interesting, right? That's a pretty great, amazing project. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So I try to do that as well.
Okay, fair enough. So you mentioned, you're not necessarily reading the technical books. If you were going to sit down, would you read, watch a movie, or would you listen to music?
I would rather listen to music.
Okay, because that's an interesting question. So, you've given keynotes, you've talked at conferences. So let me just dive right into the most important question that I ask during this segment always, which is, since you are a music fan, you're going to go up onto stage. What music do you ask for them to play as you walk up? Like, what's the song?
What's the song?
Yes.
Okay. I can't say right now, but it would be something like boomerang kind of a song. Okay.
Okay.
Like I go there and lights splash up like that. Okay. And there's like a slow music of walking on the stage. Okay. And it's more like that. Okay. Like like have you seen that documentary of Apple of 1984?
Oh, yeah.
Very popular documentary, right? Where Apple
Yeah.
announced that they're going to bring revolution. I like that music, okay? Maybe
Okay.
like that, something like that I want to play when I go on stage.
That's fine. Hey, there is no right or
This
wrong
is the
answer
most
here.
fleshed out answer we've gotten, though. I think. That's
Yes,
the
we
only one
ask
we've
everybody.
more
We
than
have a
just-
whole list.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a list of founders, conference music. Like we'll put a playlist together. It'll be on Spotify and everywhere. So, you can listen to the founder playlist. You mentioned Apple there, and a lot of people look up to Steve Jobs. But is there someone that you look up to in the open source space that you either admire or you aspire to be like, or that you really follow closely?
Okay. I won't go very far in that, okay? But I would say the parent company of Bagisto, Webkul. Webkul was founded by three founders, Mr. Vipin Sahu, Mr. Vinay Yadav, Mr. Prakash Sahu, okay? I think I look up to them more because they are, first of all, they are very close to me, okay? And second is that they built this company 10 years back, and that's on the root of the company is open source, okay? So I try to learn as much from them, and I'm just trying to replicate what they did, how they built this entire business out of open source, and I'm just trying to take small things from them and trying to replicate those things while building Bagisto. So I think those are the ones which I follow a lot, and we have a very healthy discussion every day where we discuss about the open source, how the tech stack is changing and everything. And India certainly is playing a very huge role right now because a lot of open source projects are coming from India. And on GitHub, India is amongst the number 1 or number 2 on the GitHub ranking, where a number of developers are working directly on open source.
Very cool. Very cool. And so what was your first experience in open source? Was it working with these founders here, or was it somewhere else that you first discovered open source?
Well, I do have one of my friend who was at GitHub. He was working at GitHub, okay?
Okay.
And in the initial days, like 10 years back, I graduated from my college, and I was a part of as a founding member of 2 startups. However, they got failed. Okay, so I think in that startup we used a very small project to just make a simple form in PHP. Okay. And there I think we used one, I don't know even that open source repository still exists or not, but I think at that time we made use of this small repository to create a form in PHP, okay? And I think that was my first interaction to open source. And second interaction, the major interaction with open source came when I came here at Webkul. I joined like 6 years back, and then I get in touch with these founders, okay? And then we started discussing so the very first year, I think I was involved in multiple projects of Webkul. But the very second year, I got involved with Bagisto. And from there on, it's been like 4.5 years, 5 years, I am directly in Bagisto only.
Okay. Well, so why don't we move on from rapid fire? We stopped after only a few questions. We'll save the other 160 in case there's time at the end. You mentioned Bagisto, so tell us a little bit about, what it is and how it got started.
Sure. So in simple words, Bagisto is an open source e-commerce platform. So basically, if you're looking to start your e-commerce shop, so you can just use this open source framework and start your e-commerce shop in just a few minutes, okay? There's a very interesting story how it got started. So as I told you, Webkul is the parent company of Bagisto, and Webkul has been working in e-commerce sector from past 10 years, right? So 5 years back, it's the story 4.5 years, 5 years back when the thought of Bagisto came in the mind of Mr. Vipin Sahu, okay, that there are so many developers who are working on different e-commerce platforms. But the learning curve of those development platform or the e-commerce platform were like too large. Like it took a developer like around 6 months to 1 year to first learn a framework and then start customizing and building the e-commerce shop. So that's the one gap we find. We always wanted to make something which should be easy to learn. The learning curve should be small. So any developer can easily try to get their hands on Bagisto and start building a framework. That's the first gap. Second thing, we started that on which tech stack we should build Bagisto. So let me tell you that Bagisto is built on Laravel, which is currently one of the most popular PHP backend framework. So at that time also there were many other frameworks like Symfony was there, Symfony is still there. There was Cake PHP, there was CodeIgniter, and there's Laravel. Okay, so we find that Laravel has a very good footprint across the world, but what Laravel was missing is a very good e-commerce shop. So we have been dealing with other companies who are working on Laravel, and we asked them, suppose if you get a project on e-commerce, what do you do? So they either tell them that it's quite impossible to build on Laravel. You just go and search for other frameworks, or they build on scratch. So it took a lot of time. So we wanted to fill this gap between the Laravel developers and the e-commerce ecosystem by bringing a solution which would be easy for them to help them to build the e-commerce shop. So I think these two are the very basic reason that we want to make a platform-driven commerce which would be easy for the new grown developers who have worked on a simple MVC architecture as well. They can easily learn the platform and start building the e-commerce shop. And we want to connect the Laravel developer ecosystem to the e-commerce ecosystem. So we thought of building this platform on Laravel and as open source.
Okay.
Interesting. I have a lot of video lag at the moment, so I wasn't sure if I'm still talking. So one thing that I'd love to hear about is how. So from the time where you decide, okay, this is something that we're building, the business case makes sense for us, to the launch of the open source project. Were you talking about the project publicly as you're getting started? Did you kind of build up and have like a very polished launch? Like at what point did you externally launch it based on kind of where you were building?
Okay, so when the project got started, we were not talking a lot initially in the first 6 months. We are waiting that at least the very first release come of Bagisto on GitHub. So on 31st October 2018, we launched the very first release, version 1.2 of Bagisto. And it was after that time we started, promoting it on public social handles and to the Laravel newsletters and to the other community and conferences. I remember that I was personally going to small meetups in my local area and tech conferences, not as a speaker, just as an attendee. And I was going and trying to meet with a lot of people and trying to tell them that, hey guys, we have made this open source platform on Laravel, just give it a try, okay? So I think when the very first release came on 31st October, it was after that we became very proactive in the marketing stuff, okay? I would say that I was not very much involved in inorganic marketing, but it was more on organic marketing. I was personally going, reaching out to people, reaching out to companies, giving them demos of the product and everything. And then it started with promoting the product and telling the people in public about our product.
At the very beginning of this, I find that the choices like, should we build it on this platform or that platform can be one of those things that people just get really stuck on for perhaps too long. How do you think that choice for the platform that you picked has impacted the success of the project? Do you think that was something that was like worth really, really sweating over at the beginning? Do you think that has not had a huge outcome because the overall product kind of abstracts away Laravel? Like, how do you, looking back, what do you think about that decision?
No, I think it certainly has played a very major role. The very first thing is that because when we launched from here, we thought that at least let's get the local community involved in our project. And the good way is that let's start building on a framework on which local community is very much involved. So Laravel is the framework which was very much in use in my local region, and we found that Laravel is also quite popular in the South Asian continent, in US as well. Not very much in Europe, but yeah, Southeast Asia and in the US it's quite popular. Okay. So first of all, we thought that this open source project, let's build something for the locality, okay, in the local region, so people can easily adopt it and start building the e-commerce shop. Because in the initial times, feedbacks are very important for us. That someone should use it, give us a feedback, what we need to improve, what we need to optimize. So we take it further. So I think Laravel certainly has played a very major role. The very basic reason is that Laravel right now is quite popular PHP framework across the world, and we got into this strategy that even if Laravel developers adopt Bagisto at a de facto e-commerce shop for the ecosystem, Bagisto can become so popular. Okay, we don't need to target the other developer community, right? So I think because of this thought, the very first marketing tactic that I did is that I tried to do digital marketing for Bagisto in terms of SEO on the Laravel e-commerce keyword. That was the very first tactic for me to at least bring Bagisto on top of Google search engine on the Laravel e-commerce keyword. And I think it took me around a year to get that, okay? But the moment when it get that in the Laravel e-commerce, it's been 4 years now. Even if you search right now, Laravel e-commerce, Bagisto will be there on top. So
Okay.
I think that certainly played a very huge role in the initial days that we get the Laravel community involved in using Bagisto, and even till now, Laravel is playing a very huge role for the expansion of Bagisto around the world.
Yeah, that's cool. And so here, you had a couple of things there that were interesting, and I want to dig into a few. But one of them is, the focus on growing the community from zero. Okay, this is a topic that many open source projects have. They really struggle with how do they grow from where they're at to where they need to be. And you mentioned a couple different tactics. So the first one I want to dig into is you mentioned going to conferences and meetups and just talking to people. Okay, so how did you know which conferences and meetups to go to? Like, how did you make those decisions? Like, because there's a lot of them, and some of them might be relevant, some might not be relevant. Were you targeting specifically developer conferences, or were you looking at more meetups for people doing e-commerce or even doing retail stores?
Yes. So I think in the initial days, I was basically targeting the developer conferences, okay, and not those conferences which are very big in numbers, because it's a bootstrap project. We don't have any external funds where we can arrange money to go in big conferences and sponsor there. Okay, so initially I was targeting small conferences or small meetups which were happening in my area, and people do come there, not in very huge number, but yes, people do come there, right? And the people who come there, they are from very small companies who are working on Laravel. Okay, they're not very big companies, I would say. Okay, so I decided that I would go to those small meetups, because usually when you go there, you get free entry there. Okay, they don't charge you much. Okay, and it's a very nominal fee they charge. Okay,
Yeah.
so you just go there and just let them know that, hey guys, we have made this product, right? So I would say that not everyone will adopt that thing. Whatever I would say, that people just go from the meetup and start using Bagisto. But yeah, at least people get to know, okay, there's something like Bagisto which is there, right? And what I would do once I came back from meetup, I used to connect with those companies on LinkedIn. Okay, I used to search that which company we are working on LinkedIn. I try to connect with their founders or their CTOs or business guys. Okay, I try to schedule a call with them and try to tell them, hey, I met you in that meetup. I just want to give you a very small demo. It's a free demo. There won't be any charge for that, right? So then I used to connect with them and start giving them demos. Okay, and yeah, they sometimes they sometimes give me feedback. Okay, this is what you can do, right? So I think that was the very first thing which I was doing. I did not go to very big conference or big meetups. E-commerce expo also, I would say I have not been so much of part of any e-commerce expo. So I think most of the meetups which I am part of are very much developer centric, because when it comes to open source, it's actually the developer who has to do a lot of work. It's not a SaaS where you just go do 3 clicks and you get an e-commerce shop, right? It's open source. Anyway, developer need to work, right? So that was the very first thing I decided that I would go to developer meetups, small meetups, okay? I would target a small audience, okay? And then from there, I would just gradually go on to big conferences. So that was the very first thing which I did.
So that's a really, an easy connection, right? It's a person-to-person, personal connection. You're doing personal invites. You're really spreading it via word of mouth. And that's a great way to do it to reach people. But as we all know, there's a lot of developers who don't like to attend conferences, especially when we had global pandemics and all kinds of stuff over the last few years. But a lot of developers tend to be very, they don't always like to be out in the open. Not all of them are extroverts. Some are introverts. So you mentioned using, some SEO tactics and really trying to show up on Google and really get, kind of like some SEO interest and love. Now, you said it took about a year to get to the top of Google when you searched for, an e-commerce solution. So how did you do that? Like, what were the tactics and what did that look like starting off? Like, what worked and didn't work?
Okay, I think I focused a lot on content marketing. Okay. Initially, we used to write a lot of content around this Laravel and e-commerce, this particular keyword. Okay. And then I think I used to go to other conferences and tell people on that. Okay. There's one thing also I did is that I try to target websites which are having like a low domain authority, DA, you can say, okay? So I try to link up with them and try to, do a cross-linking with them, right? Because, like when a website has a very small DA, so they don't have to think much, okay? If it's a high DA, okay, then they might think much, they might charge you for a do follow link, okay? But when it's a very small DA, even we do some interconnection, okay, with their site. So what we did is that we try to interchange do follow links with small DA websites, okay?
Okay.
That's the second thing that we did, okay? Third thing which I tried to do is that I tried to publish Bagisto post into the other websites, like the websites like blog tutorials, okay? Which is like the website which are publishing like how you can make use of the framework, how you can develop an e-commerce shop in Laravel. I try to find out these websites and try to put, blog post on Bagisto on these particular websites. And fourth thing I did also was I try to do video marketing as well. I try to publish videos on like giving instruction on how you can install Bagisto, how you can make use of Bagisto, how to create a simple product in Bagisto, right? So in the initial days, if you go on the Bagisto YouTube channel, you find a lot of mine videos, okay? That there are so many videos like explaining that tutorial of the Bagisto, right? So I think content marketing is the one thing that I would say is like we focused a lot in the initial days. And that certainly is giving a lot of benefit today, right? Those contents that we used to write in 4-5 days on a certain keyword, they are still ranking on top, right? So I think we focused, that is the one thing which I would say that content marketing initially helped us a lot in, like getting the Bagisto on top of the keyword of Laravel e-commerce.
Yeah, that's.
How long did it? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, that content is king, right? And so it definitely is, and so it's really important to make sure you have that content. Go ahead, Avi.
I'm curious how long you were when you are starting that content marketing engine. How long was it feeling like you were just talking to an empty room until you started to see some pickup? I think like. It tends to build on itself, but you're really starting from zero. And so what did that initial curve up start to look like? When did you start to see some results? Were there anything that you were really doing that particular jump started it, or was it just kind of the slow, the slow build?
Yes. So I will say there came a moment when the graph went just like this, okay? So on 31st October 2018, we launched Bagisto, and I remember it was in March 2019. I have been pitching a lot to the laravelnews.com website that, hey guys, just publish my tutorial. It's a Bagisto one, okay? And they used to charge for that. But I still keep on pitching them that, hey guys, just publish that thing. It will be very helpful, okay? I remember I have been pitching them for 2-3 months. I don't know. Some guy caught that thing. Bagisto product is an open source project that built on Laravel, and he published on Laravel News. I remember it was a March. I don't remember a date. It's like 17 or 18. I don't remember. On March 2019, when the Bagisto blog, Bagisto post came on Laravel News, I would say it was really a very jumpstart moment. I remember I was just going out of my office. Okay, I had the Google Analytics installed on my phone. Okay, I used to do check up Google Analytics every day, every hour, whenever I get time. Okay, so I just tried to open Google Analytics. Okay, I find that 100 of visitors right now are there on the website. मैंने कहा, means I thought what happened. Okay, 100 visitors right now, and the number was increasing. 100, 150, 200. 200 concurrent users on Bagisto website, right? And I also saw that that there was a huge rise in the GitHub star. Initially, it was like 50 or 60, but when that blog came, we get around 150 star. So I was curious to know that what happened right now, that how this thing is happening. Okay, then I just go and dig into Google Analytics and find out that there's so much people are coming from laravelnews.com, right? So I think that was so Laravel News, there was a link. It's a do for link, but it's a very good link because Laravel News has a very good DS score, right? So I think once we got that link from Laravel News, I think that was the moment when the traffic jump started, and then till now we have every day on an average 700 to 800 users every day right now on Bagisto.com.
That's awesome. Did you do anything in particular to kind of keep the momentum going after that first burst? I feel like it's something that we hear and see a lot where, you get on Hacker News or something, get this huge burst of traffic, and then it just goes away. What was the next step right after you get this burst of traffic?
Yes. So I think the moment it got in Laravel News, there are so many websites picking up that story and publishing it on their own website, right? So that was certainly happening. I saw that. In the next few days, I saw that Bagisto blog is there on every different tech websites which are relevant to the Laravel community, right? What I did was that I immediately made an account on Reddit and tried to put up that post on Reddit, okay? And from there also I got a very good traffic on Reddit as well, okay? And then from there, once it was there on Laravel News, it became very easy for me to pitch other websites which are having a very good DA than Bagisto, that hey, Bagisto is there on Laravel News, maybe you can think of publishing that post. I can try to backlinking your post, and we can try to cross promote that each other on social channel, right? So that's what we started. That I started picking up some websites which are having good DAs, started like cross-linking them and promoting them on social channels, okay? So Reddit was one website that I told you. I put up a blog post, then I wrote article on Medium, and then I also remember that I published a post on dev.to. There's a website, dev.to. I just write an article that top 3 Laravel packages, and that post also gained a very good traction in the next 15 days. And I remember that when I was searching for Laravel e-commerce keyword, that article was coming on top. So when that article came on top, it became a very good do for all link for me, and from there the traffic start coming from dev.to to Bagisto, and slowly Bagisto start gaining on the Laravel e-commerce keyword, and then finally came on top.
So what tools were you using, just out of curiosity, for your keyword research?
Okay, for Laravel e-commerce, I did not do any keyword research because it was pretty much obvious that platform
it was obvious. Yeah,
platform is built on Laravel and e-commerce. The obvious keyword will be Laravel e-commerce, right? So but at that time, when Bagisto came on that keyword, okay, after some time I checked on this. I guess there's one Uber suggest this website, right? I checked there for the keyword, right, and it has got very good traffic on that Laravel e-commerce keyword. And then there was another website, I remember it was alexa.com. I think Amazon has taken it down right now, but it was there at that time. So alexa.com drilled down to so many analytics for free. It was a paid service, but even in free, they are giving you a lot of insights, okay? That on which keywords you are ranking and what exactly is a missing factor, right? So I think Alexa.com and Uber suggest, and yes, there's one more site I keep on like searching is Ahref. Okay, you go on the website and it will show you the backlinks that you have, the domain authority score that you have, and some broken links as well, right? So these 2-3 websites I have been following a lot from past 4 years, okay, and tried optimizing my website on certain keyword, and right now I am optimizing currently on open source e-commerce platform. That's a generic keyword, long tail keyword. It will take some time, but certainly right now Bagisto is on somewhere around like third page of Google, but I'm
Okay.
very sure that in some time maybe it will also come first page as well.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So, as you're doing this optimization, as you're building out, the audience and making it so people can find you, which is critically important in, any business, not just open source. There's a point where you're really starting to try and commercialize, the product, right? You're taking it from just a pure open source product to something that people pay for. Maybe tell us a little bit about your business strategy. What is the paid for offering versus the free, and how did you make the decision on what should be paid for versus what is free?
Okay, I have always been a believer that for an open source project to grow, what I tell everywhere wherever I go, that take care of your community, community will take care of you. That's a simple mantra I follow in the open source, and that has been from the day one till now I've been following. So you can say like from the in the very first year we did any kind of strategy to gain some revenue, okay, because the very first thing for us that first of all community should adopt us. We should build a community, right? Because without community you are nothing for open source, right? So community is like a heart and soul for every open source project. So in the very first year, we were very much focused in building the community. So what I did was that I built a Facebook group. Okay, I got the forum online, and then people started joining, questioning on the Facebook group about the Bagisto, and they started coming on forums as well, and creating some issues as well, right? Once I find that we have got something like around 1,000 member community. So what I did was that I remember that I put up a post on a Facebook group that, hey guys, I'm looking to make we are looking to make some extension on Bagisto, like multi-vendor marketplace or like point of sale solution or progressive web app. So what is the one extension that you are looking to have? So I put out a poll on the Facebook group. I got a response from the community that what community is exactly looking forward to have next in Bagisto. So I remember that they voted multi-vendor marketplace as the one thing. So from there we got the idea, okay, this should be our next step. We should start building different small add-ons and extensions, because we know that Bagisto in a whole will not fulfill everyone's criteria. Right? Someone will need something, someone will need something. So we have to, and also we cannot give everything in Bagisto. Otherwise, it will make the platform very messy and very heavy to run, right? We always started to keep the platform very much simple to use and easy, right? So from there, we got the idea. We started building multi-vendor marketplace, and that was the very first extension that we launched at a minimal cost of $49. Right?
Okay.
So from there we started getting some traction. People started using Bagisto and they started buying extension as well. And slowly we started adding more feature in the multi-vendor marketplace and also building other extension as well. So what was happening at that time? We were getting some leads from the people are using Bagisto. They are requesting for some customization. So we found out that what is a major thing people are looking, like multi-vendor marketplace for the one. Then there are other group of people who are looking for point of sale solution. There are other people who are looking for a mobile solution as well, right? So from there we got the idea that what should we build next as an extension. We started building the extension and trying to put up a very nominal cost for the community, and that's how I would say building extensions and selling them at a nominal cost was the very first business strategy for Bagisto. Okay, and then like every open source follow the same strategy what Red Hat does. Like the very first thing they do is the licensing. okay, that you publish an extension, you give a like a single license, and for multiple license you need to purchase license. Second thing that we did was that giving a priority support, okay, that if you're using Bagisto and if you have any issue, you can take a paid support. We are going to assist you in that. And the third thing was the extension selling. We started building extension, and soon other companies also joined us in making making their extensions for Bagisto. So there are many extensions right now for Bagisto which we have made, and there are like right now there are more than 150 plus extensions for Bagisto. 30% of them have been built by third-party companies and 70% by us. So people started coming, they started building extension, they also started gaining momentum, they started also getting some business out of that, right? So that's how I would say we expanded our business strategy on all these three stuff, and we gained some monetary like audience in that.
So when you first polled the community about what direction do you want us to go, maybe I missed this as you were telling the story, but were you explicitly asking about willingness to pay, or were you purely like what are we building next, and then that's what you decided you're going to charge for because people were asking for it? How did you think about pricing in that initial rollout?
Yes. So I remember that I specifically mentioned that we are looking to build extension. What should be built next? So the word extension already means it's something that is not going to be the part of core open source project. It's something kind of like an add-on, right? So I first got the poll of multi-vendor marketplace. For pricing, I would say it was just like blind eye, okay, that we put up a nominal cost of $49 US, okay, but yes, like people were buying. I think at that time we don't get any much request that it's a very high cost, okay. People were buying, and even like we were supporting some like school projects as well. There were some students who approached us, and we give them for free, okay. And then they started building on that. They again came back to us and they told us that, okay, right now it's going fine. We need some customization. And for that, they are willing to pay, okay. So in the initial days, we were very much flexible in the amount that even if someone comes and asks for a discount, obviously we will give, because in the initial days, we were nothing, right? We just want to have more people around us, right? So people came, whenever they want a discount, we give them discount. If $49 suits fine, it's fine, okay. So I think pricings for the pricings we just put up like that, okay, and then it's upon the community how they respond to that, okay. And even right now, what we do is that every 4 months, okay, we revise the pricings of extension, right? We see that which extension is gaining popularity, for which extension people have high demand, and for which extension which are in low demand and people need a discount on that. So we regularly adjust the price in every 4 months or 6 months, you say, okay. So it would be easy for the community as well, okay, and we can get more e-commerce shop built around Bagisto using those extensions as well.
Quick question. The extensions, are they subscription based? So it's like a year-long subscription for the $49, or is it just a one-time fee?
So there's an interesting parameter that we attach with the extension. First of all, it's a one-time fee. Second is that once you purchase the extension, you get the full source code of the extension. Third is that since you have the full source code, you have all the authority to modify the extension as per your use, okay? Third, what we did is that you will get lifetime free updates for that particular extension. So even in the coming down the line, even after 5 years also, if someone has bought extension the very first year, he will get a lifetime free update whenever we update that extension, okay? And then we give a free 3-month support as well for the extension, that if you are using an extension and if you are having issue, we are giving you free 3-month support as well. So these are some interesting clauses that we allocated with the purchase of extension, and that I think found very reasonable to the community, and that's how like people started buying and using those extensions.
So from a technical standpoint, how are you getting these extensions into their hands? Is it like a private repo? Is it just some like authenticated URL that you get a code for? Like how are you actually physically getting that to them?
Okay, so see, right now it's more like you purchase extension and you get a zip code. Okay, zip file. Sorry, zip file. In the zip file, there's a source code. Okay. See, right now, if I talk about authentication, not like a good authentication is there. Okay, but it's more on the grounds of morality that we have put in the terms and condition that every extension has got single license, that you can use it only on one instance. Okay, if you use on more than one instance, okay, there can be a like certain clause that would not be good for you. Okay, so there have been cases like we have found that people are using extensions on multiple websites, and that too some have what some has done is that they have put the extension as open source on GitHub. So on GitHub, yeah.
So they've taken your private code and then released it.
Yes. So what we did is that even on GitHub also we do do a filtering of our extension to find out if someone has put that or not. And there have been people who has done that. When they do that, we file a complaint to GitHub on the DMCA. Okay, that this is a repository that is making use of a private file, which is which we are selling. So kindly take. So we don't do directly. First, we send the issue on that repository to the owner that this is a private repository. Kindly take it as private, don't make it open source. If they do that, some do. If that's fine. If someone not do, then we file a DMCA complaint to GitHub that kindly take down this repository as it's the publishing a repository to open source, which is not open source but private. So I think on these level we are managing that people should make use of like the add-on on only single instance or not on multiple instance.
Yeah, that's a tough problem, because, when you do give away the open source code or the code and it's not open source, it's under a different license, people tend to do what they feel is in their best interest, not necessarily the company's.
Yes,
we could take a slight tangent because there's a very current story unfolding in this exact vein at the moment with Minio and I don't know if it's Weka, around attribution to Minio that they're embedding, and they're trying to revoke the license under the Apache 2 clause, which I think is very interesting. And so I guess I'm curious of, how often are you seeing this happen? Has your process of what you do when you see these kinds of license violations, has that changed over time? Were there things that you were doing at first that weren't working? I'm really just curious how you've been thinking about that over time.
Well, see, I would say that not many does that thing. Okay, out of 100, 2 or 3 maybe are there. Okay, who are doing that thing. Okay. Because you know why? There's one more reason for that. That suppose even if someone else is using extension on a multiple domain as well, right? Certainly he will come back to us for support. He won't get a support anywhere for that extension which we have built. Okay. So before giving a support, we ask for the order ID of the purchase, right? So we verify the purchase first. Okay, that it's a verified purchase. Okay. Someone, if they are using a multiple domain, okay, so we get the ID from there only, that if he is using on us a single instance or multiple instance. So we verify the purchase, we got the order ID. So only those customers who are our real customer, who have got the real order ID, we give them support. Otherwise, if there's any other customer who is just making use of our software, we get to know that no, he is not our customer, but he is using our software. So from there, we also get the idea, and we try to restrict those people and tell them that kindly take it down. Okay, it's not a favorable thing. Okay, and even we do send some notice as well to take it down, and there are people who have taken it down. Okay, otherwise GitHub takes care of that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and Avi, to your point, and this is where it's super interesting. So running, I've run support departments before where we sell commercial support, and while the number of people who abuse that is small, there are people who do. So when you sell a support contract for one server, you expect one server. I can tell you though that there are some really, really large companies, like Fortune 1000, 2000 companies, billions of dollars, where they'll buy one server worth of support, and then they'll open up 50 tickets a day.
Okay.
And you're like, but wait a minute, this one is on like, AWS, this one's on Google, so they can't be on like the same like they can't be the same server. You only bought one. So this actually, it doesn't happen like, Saurav, like you said, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's kind of noticeable if you're looking at the right things.
Yeah, even like, there are certain things which are there in the Bagisto source code. So we know that when the website is live, okay, actually we never get information that website is live. But yeah, we do search for some keyword. That keyword, when you search on Google, it gets a list of websites which are running on Bagisto. Okay. So from there also, we identify those people, okay, that who are using the same server and two instance, okay. But like very soon, we are going to launch, we are building on some authentication right now, okay, which we are going to embed in these commercial extension. So in the coming purchase, people have to generate a license key, and that license key will be attached to that extension. And without that license key, they will not be able to use that extension. So we are working on this some authentication system. It will be like live very much soon for the community.
Yeah. There's always just a couple people who ruin it for everybody. Anyways, Avi, do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time to change hats. It's time for that segment, which we always go to. We're going to talk about metrics. We're going to talk metrics. I'm putting on my metrics hat for the open source space. That's right. So I am curious. Okay. So as we're talking about the business strategy, we're talking about the commercialization, we're talking about what's going on. How are you measuring the success of the product? How are you measuring your commercial success? What are you looking for? And how do you connect the dots between open source and actual sales? Like what are those metrics you look at?
Okay. I think the very first metric is that we have around 5,000 plus member community around the world, okay, and we have built around 5 to 6 ambassadors in different country who are running these Bagisto meetups in their different localities, right? So I think it's a huge success for us that some people are taking initiative and they are actually working on Bagisto and doing these small meetups in the locality, okay. So community is like one of the big metric for us, okay. I would say that we have been able to build a very good community, very supportive community, okay. They all of them are very collaborative and working together and in so many things, right? And that's the one factor for us, okay. And obviously there are a lot of factors which you can see on GitHub. Just go on GitHub, you'll find 6,000 plus stars in just 4 years, 75,000 plus downloads, and more than 25,000 approx merchants whose websites are currently live and running successfully on Bagisto.com right now framework. Okay. Now, if I talk about the revenue part, that's a very hazy. I would say that revenue is a thing which you cannot relate with open source, right? Because what is open source if not giving back to community, right? Something for free, okay? You cannot just go to investor and show some balance sheet that, hey, I need funding. This is the open source project, right? It's very hard to get a funding for open source, okay? Still, it's a good thing that we are running Bootstrap from past 4 years, and we have been right now able to generate 350K annual recurring revenue right now, okay? So I think a lot of these things have came from our business strategy, okay? Whatever these amounts are coming, and they are certainly helping us in maintaining the project, building coming up all the new innovations. Like recently we have forayed into building decentralized application on Ethereum and Polygon using Bagisto tech stack, and also building some application around machine learning and augmented reality on Bagisto as well, right? So all these things are helping us in supporting our community around the world, and also supporting the projects and the people working behind us. Fortunately, we are running fine. There have been also instances that people wanted to contribute to Bagisto as well in financial terms. But since right now things are going fine, we tell them please keep these funds, and if you want to contribute to Bagisto, just organize a local meetup and spread the word, okay? That's how you can make use of the money right now that you have. Okay, so that is what we tell the community. Even we support our community by sending some financial assistance, by sending some goodies and everything like that. Okay, so yeah, I think these are some of the important metrics that I told you right now, by which show that we are not going too fast or too steep, but yeah, we are growing definitely.
Okay. Well, and you mentioned a couple of things that are interesting. So number one, you mentioned like your community ambassadors. That's a great way to track, like how many people are part of your community and growing that, focusing on that. I'm curious, when you talk about your community as a whole, is that just contributors on GitHub? Is that like people on like a Slack or a Facebook group? When you talk about like those 5,000 people, what are you counting towards that 5,000 people?
Yeah, see, right now there are around 150 contributors on GitHub
Okay.
for Bagisto, okay? And other 5,000 members, I'm counting by the number of members we have on our Facebook group and those which
Okay.
are on our forums right now, right?
Okay.
So these two are the like platform where people usually come, they put up the issue, and community helps them in solving the issues with that. So these members are coming from Facebook and forums.
Okay. And you mentioned that you have about 25,000 merchants, which is great. I'm curious, how do you count that number? Like, is there like something that tells like you like, oh, this is installed merchant from the company, or is that just based on download numbers or just people who self-report? How do you collect that?
See, we have not put up anything kind of like a tracking code by which
Okay.
we can track a code whenever a site is code, because it's an open source project. Anyone can modify the code, right? So you don't have that liability or like freedom, right? So there's a site by the name builtwith.com. Okay.
Okay.
What builtwith does is that you put up a site, it will give you on what technology this site is built upon, right?
Okay.
So there, I put up like I am like subscriber to that site. I put up the keyword Bagisto, and from there I get a some number. Okay, I would not say even that it tells me the exact number. Okay, but some number at least I would get. So I'm pretty show that out of 75,000 downloads that we have currently for Bagisto, the site displays me there are something around 25,000 plus sites which are live. Now see, you cannot be sure that if a site is live today, tomorrow it can go down. It won't be tracked, right? But on an average, I would say that from last 1 year, I have been tracking on that built with site. So there are approximately 75,000 plus sites which are running on Bagisto right now.
Got it. That makes sense. I don't actually know. Are those is that kind of built with strategy robust to, people having, say, like a staging link and a production link that are both on subdomains of the same domain? I'm curious. That's interesting to me how they tease that number out to kind of give you uniques.
Yeah, right. You're right. No, they even sometimes fetch that as well. Okay, staging and production both. Right. I have seen that. Right. Okay. So I try to filter those out, or I try to sometimes calculate them. Okay, suppose like if I get two websites, both are similar but having different domains, I get an idea that okay, one might be staging, one might be production, or there's a debugger that we have on the footer. Okay, so if we find that there's a debugger on, it might be a staging one. Okay, if a debugger is off, it might be a production one. Right. So from there also we get a gist of it.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It's sophisticated.
So anyway, we're just about out of time. Avi, any final thoughts from you?
I guess I'm curious as someone who has really gotten a very impressive bootstrap business off the ground. I'm curious if you just have any kind of closing advice for folks who are looking to do the same. It's a really impressive achievement to get a business like this off the ground. So I'm sure many are looking to you for guidance on this.
Well, I always tell the same thing to everywhere. Okay, that if you're looking to start an open source project, first try to build something which is for your community. Okay, because once the community adopts you, okay, you won't need anything else. Okay, so make sure you give your community the priority. Okay, keep in touch with them, keep asking questions and putting up something like that so the community feels like they are engaged. Okay, because those are the people who are taking out their time and using using your project, right? Otherwise, who does that, right? Definitely. So please go ahead and talk with your community, organize meetups and conferences, support them with, if possible, not financially, but with some goodies, or even like you can give a virtual talk, right? You can organize a meetup in local area and give a virtual talk on that, right, as well. So yeah, that would be my advice for them, that please take care of a community. Community will take care of you, definitely. That has been the process for us.
All right, great advice. Great advice. Saurav, thank you for coming on the Hacking Open Source Business Podcast. We appreciate it. Don't forget to check out Bagisto. If you are in the market for some e-commerce software, check out their website. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us as well. We do appreciate you listening today. Until next time, thanks very much.